Good morning. Welcome to Daily Focus. I'm glad that you have joined me this morning, and I trust that you are anticipating a wonderful day today, that your day is off to a good start, whether you're starting it with us live or watching this later in the day. But I'm glad that you choose to share this time with me, and it is a joy of my heart to be able to share God's Word with you, some fuel to life and some opportunity to gain some truths about God's Word that will be applicable to what we will face today. We're in Proverbs chapter 15, and we'll read the first 4 verses and deal with the theme of our words. So Proverbs 15 verse 1 says, "A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit." Well, verse number 3 is obviously the key motivator in all of this. It falls right in the context of verses before and after, specifically dealing with how we speak, how we use our tongue. And it gives us a very, very good reminder that the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. It could maybe say the ears of the Lord are listening to every word you say, whether it's positive or negative, good or bad, moral or immoral. God sees and hears everything that goes on. Sometimes people will lower their tone. They'll speak a little quieter if they are saying something about people that they don't want them to hear, or you see, and it's a good reminder that even though you keep other people from hearing something, or you are trashing somebody to someone else and you don't want anybody else to hear, whatever it is, whether you're on a phone or something else, the eyes of the Lord or the ears of the Lord are there. And he hears what is evil, and he hears what is good. And I think that's just a good reminder. It ought to be a motivator for us to speak right and to use our tongue to edify and to glorify God and to edify others. And so it's really the foundational principle. But then in verse number 1 gives us a very practical tip regarding how we speak. And it says to speak softly. It says that a soft answer turneth away wrath. There are a lot of things in life that get under our skin. There's a lot of things in life that, flip our switch, if you want to say it that way, whatever it is that ticks us off. And at that moment, we have a decision to make. We have a decision to make whether to return what it is that's frustrating us, or return what it is that's making us frustrated, angry, struggling with our own spirit as to what is it that would make them say that? Why is it? I mean, I guess my best application to all of this is watching the news right now. I watch the news. I've pretty much even stopped watching the news just because I can't stand it. But you watch the news and you hear stuff being said. Some of it is just flat out false propaganda. Some of it is just misrepresentation of facts. Some of it is intentional misinformation. Some of it is agenda driven. And you just listen to this, and for me, internally, I just want to throw something at the television. And yet that's not right. I'd love to spout off at the mouth, but it's not going to solve anything. And God reminds us that whatever it is, whatever you have faced, whatever you would really like to just utter out of your mouth at that moment, remember this: a soft answer turns away wrath. You can match your frustration with something that will frustrate them. You can match what has offended you with something that will offend them. You can tit for tat, and you can prove your point, and you can make them feel your pain, and you can do all of that. God says you're foolish to do it, but you can do it. It's your choice. It's just not a good choice. What is a good choice and the best choice is to return that offense, return that frustration with something that is soft, something that is truthful. So what is a soft answer? I've always applied 3 things to what makes a soft answer. And that is when I'm addressing somebody who is trying to anger me and I know they're trying to push my buttons, when I'm going to respond to somebody who is frustrating because they're off in left field on something, whatever it is, and I know I need to give a soft answer, then I have 3 things that are involved. One is it has to be honest. Whatever I say has to be honest. I need to speak the truth in love. It might be that there are things that don't need to be said, but if I'm going to speak, then I should speak softly and I should speak honestly. In other words, it might not be something that they want to hear. It might be something that they need to hear, but I can say it in a soft tone. I can say it in a way that's a little easier to receive. I just have to be gracious. I have to be kind, but I do have to be honest. And so a soft answer always involves being honest. But the second part, which is really the most critical part, and that is I have to be humble. In other words, I can't make this about me. It can't be about being right. It can't be about being persuasive. It can't be about changing their mind. There are avenues for debate. There are avenues for proclamation and preaching and motivation and all of that. But in conversation, in relationships, most of the time, it's not about trying to change their mind. Most of the time, it's just important that I humbly declare truth. Remember, we didn't write the truth, but we have the privilege and responsibility to declare it. And so I think it's important for us that when we're in those moments and we need to speak softly, which means I have to be honest, but I have to be humble. I can't make this about me. I can't make this about what I think, what I want. It can't be that in marital relationship or in parent-child relationships or even sometimes in a work relationship. It's about who's right. Well, you already lost this battle. You're not going to speak softly. You are not going to obey verse number 1. Whether or not you ever raise your voice, you're not going to use a soft answer because you're not humble. This has become about you. And so we have to be honest and we have to be humble, but we have to be holy. In other words, my answer needs to exalt Christ. My answer needs to be far away from sin and selfishness, and it has to lean itself completely in the direction of Christ and His character, that I'm accurately and appropriately reflecting Him. And so in that, verse number 2 says, the tongue of the wise uses knowledge right. So they know if to speak, and they know when to speak, and they know how to speak. They portray knowledge right. A fool doesn't have any filter. He just blurts it out, any context, any setting. He just utters his heart. He just utters his mind because he just doesn't have any wisdom. He buys the lie of foolishness. And then verse number 4 says, a wholesome tongue is a tree of life. If you can learn to use a soft answer appropriately, you will be a blessing. You will be a tree of life. But perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. It's always going to affect the atmosphere and attitude of the relationship, of the group that you're with. And so God just simply reminds us once again that we need to speak softly. We need to speak soft answers, which means being honest, being humble, being holy. I trust you have a great day today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.